Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. It's the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions from the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, social media, sports, everything really. Depending on the guest, we talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis, and on social media, you know me as PD Beats. You'll recognize my guest from Magic for Humans, which is on Netflix. Season 3 is now available on Netflix. Justin Willman is with us. Justin, welcome to Popternative.
How you doing, Petey? Thanks for having me.
No problem. Season 3, isn't it? Has that sunk in?
Welcome to my house.
No problem. Has it sunk in that you've done 3 seasons of Magic for Humans already?
You know, that's a good question. I don't think it has, because it all really happens fast. It's kind of like crank out this first season, you know, it hits the airwaves, and then immediately we started working on season 2 and 3. We shot them back to back last year. That was like a year-long blur. And now it's so weird. It's like, you know, the fact that it came out during quarantine, I think I'm an unexpected happy surprise in that I think people really need an escape right now. And
Absolutely.
Magic for Humans is kind of, you know, I kind of designed it to be an escape from the real world, all of our troubles. I just didn't realize how many troubles we'd have.
I find...
Yeah, it's a lot.
No, it's interesting. You know, ever since I was a kid, I loved, you know, magic shows, magic tricks, card tricks, watching that stuff with my family. But I feel like it was like a special treat when you'd see a magic show. It didn't feel like it was around that much. You know what I mean? Do you think that shows like Magic for Humans and America's Got Talent, I feel like really like helped promote kind of magicians? Do you feel like it's important to have those mediums to kind of showcase magic? Because I feel like we all love it, but it might not be there as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. I remember what a treat it was. Like, I think it was always Thanksgiving Eve when they would have World's Greatest Magic, which is like this magic special that I would VHS tape it and I'd watch it back over and over again. We used to have a Copperfield special every year, and Blaine and Lance Burton, and now it's kind of it's like more of a treat. You know, obviously Penn and Teller Fool Us is really awesome showcase for magic, but I think we're in a boom right now, and I feel like what's great about Netflix is that I'm able to have this show where people can watch it on demand when they want it. You don't have to wait and miss it and wait for it to re-air. It's kind of makes it very shareable. So I'm very blessed in that regard. But yeah, I think a lot of people, you know, hey, I never thought I was into magic, or I never watched magic. I just feel like people don't have the opportunity where it's put in front of them. And you get that now. You get that a lot more now, which is nice.
Absolutely. You've done a lot of other cool things in your career, including hosting. You've hosted, you know, Cupcake Wars. You've also hosted Win, Lose, or Draw on Disney Channel. I've always kind of wanted to ask you. I'm really excited to ask this because I watched Win, Lose, or Draw, and you were like the host, and then, you know, like right after, you know, a commercial, you'd come back and you would do like a magic trick for, you know, the contestants, right? I'm just curious how that came to be. Was that like when you kind of were in talks to be the host of that show? Was it something like they wanted someone maybe to do magic, or were you just like, hey, you know, gravy on the mashed potatoes, like I could also do magic as well? What was that all about? I found that really interesting.
You know, I love hosting shows. I love game shows. Since I was a little kid, like I always found a parallel between game shows and magic performance, just in that you're not just, you know, a host talking, like you're kind of navigating an audience's fun adventure. And they weren't looking for a host who also happened to do magic, but when I got the hosting gig, you know, they kind of were like, we got to figure out a way to work magic in, you know, like we got to. Otherwise, we'd be wasting an opportunity. So it felt like a really cool little palate cleanse. So for me, the challenge was coming up with these really quick tricks that were like 30 seconds, 60 seconds long, that didn't eat up too much of the game time, but were able to kind of, you know, like the show is all about having these Disney Channel stars, contestants, and real people mixed together. So a way to show, like what's great about magic is that it doesn't matter if you're a famous celebrity or an ordinary person, you kind of react the same. So it kind of shows in kind of an unspoken way that we're all the same. That's kind of what Magic for Humans is about too. Just that magic is something that elicits a reaction, that is a natural thing, that is consistent no matter kind of where you are in the world, who you are, how famous you are, how not famous you are, rich or poor, etc., old or young. It's kind of a great little equalizer.
Believe it or not, it's like I saw your magic and your stuff before that, but that was kind of like what made me like want to research you more. You know what I mean?
Because you're like, who is this guy? Host, magician? He's clearly schizophrenic. You got to pick a lane.
I kind of want to know. I mean, you've done 3 seasons of Magic for Humans. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, like you said, it's one of those shows that you watch it, you just get so happy, and you're like, you say, how does he do that? Like 5 or 6 times, like an episode. I feel like. What has been kind of some of your favorite kind of moments or favorite tricks from the last couple of seasons, or specifically season 3, which is now available on Netflix?
Yeah, season 3, we were able to do a few segments that I think we'd been talking about doing since season 1, and we just never got a chance to do. Like, the bit with the influencers, where we try to influence the influencers, is just one of my, favorite things that we're able to pull off. And I think it was just a matter of, it's kind of a little bit more of a heady kind of cerebral. How do we, obviously just in what you see on camera, but also figuring out how to pull it off, all the subliminal kind of messaging things here and there. So that took a while, but I'm really happy we did that. Also, going to a nudist colony was just something I always thought would be really fun and scary to pull off. I think doing magic naked for naked people, I don't know, I want to watch that. Now you can. And then also being able to kind of spoof for years, like magic specials were always about some big stunt, some sort of survival stunt. So to do the bit where I eat a ghost pepper and then try to pull off these elaborate card tricks, to me was just always a fun, also scary thing. I don't know, I liked the season doing some things that I think maybe I'd been putting off because I was apprehensive or anxious about them, and now we were just like, all right, let's just do it, don't overthink it.
For sure.
To do that kind of stuff.
You dabbled in like the hosting, like food shows and competitions and everything. What is going on with this trend the last year with hot sauce, man? I just feel like everyone's talking about it. Everyone loves it. I've always liked hot sauce. You know what I mean?
I think it's because it's kind of like a truth serum. I feel like people, celebrities go on talk shows and, they have their prepared story or whatever, their jokes, their shtick. And, sometimes you don't know if you're getting the real person right there. And I don't know, I never thought about this, but there's a kind of a parallel between magic and the hot sauce in that they reveal one's true self. You know what I mean? And the hot sauce, it's really hard to fake agony. Or if you're eating it and you're able to take it, you're kind of like, damn, that guy's got, taste buds of steel. I don't know. I think it is kind of something that makes people a little more real and vulnerable and human. And I think that's fun to watch. For
sure. In terms of your career as a magician and a host, what I really like about it, Justin, is you've had a very... you've done a lot of different kind of projects, so it's a very unique and kind of diverse amount of stuff you've worked on. I mentioned Disney Channel, Cupcake Wars. How important was that though? Because you carved yourself a niche, you're a magician, but you've been able to do and work on a lot of different things and wear many hats in that regards. You know what I mean? You're hosting a cooking competition. You're hosting a game show. How important was that for you, kind of growing up in terms of did you want to wear many hats in that industry and do different things?
I don't know if I'd ever thought about planning it that way. I just think I naturally have a little bit of ADD, and I kind of get a little itchy if I'm doing the same thing for too long. It's weird because I like to think I'm a creature of habit. I like routine, but once I'm in a routine, I don't like it. If I'm going to go on 2 weeks and relax, and by day 3, I'm freaking out. I need to get back to doing a thing. And I think same thing with career stuff. It's I don't want to stay in one lane. I kind of like the idea of mixing it up. So, obviously I love magic first and foremost. So doing a magic series is a huge passion, but I also love being on the road doing live shows. So it's kind of I need to, while we're shooting Magic for Humans, I would be working Monday through Friday in the office, and we'd be planning and prepping and shooting. Saturday, Sunday, I'd be on the road somewhere doing shows. And then I would come back Monday and I would run myself ragged and people be like, are you insane? Why don't you just rest? But I don't know. I love it. It kind of just keeps me invigorated and excited. The same goes with hosting a show that might seem like a random tangent, but I think I've always loved the idea of doing everything at least once. I kind of always envy those performers who were so well-rounded that they kind of did a little bit of everything. Birthday parties, colleges, cruise ships, hosting, TV, whatever.
No, for sure. Do you kind of feel like you're prepared in terms of, whether you go to a family gathering, whether you're at a restaurant with some friends, are you always kind of prepared for someone come up to you and be like, hey, can you do a trick? Because I feel like that's your life. I feel like people ask you all the time. You know what I mean? You've done, like Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, people know you as kind of one of the biggest magicians of our kind of like, of the current time right now. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
It does happen. It doesn't happen. I mean, believe it or not, it doesn't happen as much as it used to when people maybe weren't as familiar with me. But then somebody says, "Oh, Justin's a magician." Then they're kind of like, "Oh, well, show me a trick. I've never seen you do magic." Now I feel like people, maybe if they're familiar with me, they've seen my stuff. They're a little more polite, less pushy to like, "Hey, do a trick right now on the spot." When pressed, I obviously could do something anywhere, but these days I kind of like to let people my element. So it's kind of like, hey, if you really need to see a trick, here, I'm performing here, this date, this place, come see a show. I'd love for you to see it in its proper environment.
My friend who's a big fan of Magic for Humans, binge season 3, like right away when it came out, was like, I told him, like, yeah, like I'm interviewing Justin Willman. He's like, oh, you should ask him to hypnotize you. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
I already have.
Exactly. He actually said that. He's like, how funny would it be if he hypnotized you without even knowing it during your show? It's interesting. So you have a son.
I do.
And you're busy right now being a dad. I feel like it's very early obviously for this question, but like, would you be like happy if he one day wanted to like follow his father's footsteps and do magic? Like, have you ever thought about that?
Thinking about this. I mean, I would never push it upon him. I feel like, listen, I think regardless of whether he becomes a magician or not, I would think it's cool to have a magician dad. My dad was a retired airline pilot. That was cool to have an airline pilot dad. I could fly for free, and he was the pilot. So that was cool. And he never pushed me too hard to become a pilot. I would listen, if he has a knack for it and really wants to do it, great. I've tried to like show him tricks and teach him tricks, and he is not interested at all. He is very funny about not hating magic, but he's very funny about busting me on the trick or just losing interest right before the cool part happens. So it's kind of funny at this moment. But I think once he's old enough to understand that a ball in my hand and now it's gone is impossible, it's hard to, if he's got what it takes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you done, because like obviously these interviews are kind of a bit difficult because you're not like, it's not like up close magic or anything, but have you, like, what do you think about, so there's obviously prop magic, right? And there's a lot of, the hypnotized stuff and the illusion things. What do you think is kind of like, for people that want to get into magic, what are like the easiest tricks to kind of start with? Do you recommend like the card tricks or?
Yeah, it's funny you asked. So right early in quarantine, my wife and I were talking, we're like, man, it's weird being all cooped up in the house, but people are kind of, being spread thin and suffering, and people are, our health care workers are being really leaned on. How can we do something? So I finally, and I'd always wanted to make a magic kit. And I just never gotten around to it because I feel like it's really hard to find a good magic kit for exactly the scenario you just said. Someone who wants to get into magic but doesn't know what to do. So we made a magic kit. It's called Justin Willman's Social Distancing Magician Starter Kit that I picked 10 of my favorite tricks that I performed when I started magic when I was like 12. So from age like 13 to 16, this was kind of like my core repertoire of actually good tricks, and put them together in this kit to raise money for COVID relief. And I've been selling them on my website, which is justinwillman.com, and people
Amazing.
Go grab one if you want. But what I found is, for me specifically, magics right off the bat when I was really young were really frustrating to me because your hands are small, cards are not too small, the moves are kind of complicated, and you kind of get frustrated and maybe think, God, I suck at Magic, forget it. So I have a card trick in there in that it uses, like 2 or 3 cards, not a full deck. And then it's mostly a few other really cool prop tricks and some tricks that require a little bit of sleight of hand that I think boost your self-esteem in terms of learning Magic so that you get that. Because what you want is you want to learn a trick, you want to spend a few days practicing it, you want to perform it for somebody, you want to blow their mind.
Absolutely.
And once you get that endorphin rush from like doing a trick and blowing someone's mind, you feel good about this Magic thing and you want to go do more. And I remember when I was really young, getting my first Magic kit, I was like 5 or 6. I was just too young for it. It was too complicated, and I was like, no, I hate Magic. Magic's dumb. I'm not good at it. We gravitate towards what we're good at. So I've made this Magic kit that's it's a little bit of everything, kind of good performance, sleight of hand, some cool props, a couple little card tricks. I might make a follow-up kit that's a little more complex, but it's been really cool kind of just thinking about the mindset of learning Magic from a young age.
Absolutely. For a rapper, you know what always irritated me, like when I watch Magic with people, when people try to kind of they're trying to figure out, like, oh, I figured out how he did it. Like, they don't just enjoy the illusion. Like, you know what I mean? That frustrates me. It grinds my gears.
Yeah, it grinds my gears too. And I think, and it's weird, you'd think I'd be over that by now. But yeah, I think there's types of people in this world, and Magic kind of helps identify those people who love Magic because they're intelligent and they know that I'm not trying to trick you. I'm not trying to like punk you. I'm trying to give you a sense of wonder and help you suspend your disbelief and enjoy it. There's other people who just see it as a puzzle and a challenge, and if they don't figure it out, that I'm saying they're stupid, and that's not what it's about. But those are skeptics, and I like converting those people too. I kind of like playing towards the Magic lovers and kind of the Magic skeptics at the same time, and it's very rewarding winning over a skeptic.
Absolutely. No, well, Justin, thank you so much for coming on Popternative, man.
Thanks for having me. This was really fun.
No, absolutely. So obviously they can watch all 3 seasons of Magic for Humans on Netflix right now.
Yep. And I hope you do. You should.
Absolutely.
Fun binge. And then I will be back on tour, hopefully, near the end of the year. You can get my tour dates at justinwillman.com. You can pick up that Magic kit, justinwillman.com, and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those things.
Yeah, at Justin Willman on Twitter and Instagram?
Yep.
Perfect, man.
I'm easy to find.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for doing this, man. It really means a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Be sure to check out Justin Willman's Magic for Humans on Netflix now. And until next time, this is Justin Willman and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.